Witness a man named Luo sleeping soundly at the start of the story. Meanwhile, a horse comes to him and wakes him up by holding his hair from its mouth and then takes his mouth out and drowns him in the water. Actually, this horse used to wake up his master in the same way. They go to a place. Luo ties his horse and starts resting at a place. Luo's horse's name was Red. Later, two men are seen going on their horses and talking to each other while looking at Luo. They say his name is Luo, who used to be a stuntman in films. He had earned a lot of money by showing tricks, but look at how bad his condition is today that he can't even eat 2 meals properly. Now one night Luo was sitting in the hotel emptying beer bottles. Actually, he was worried about his poverty. Then a man comes to him named Demi. Luo had borrowed some money from him which he could not return till today. Demi says, if you can't return my money then give me your horse. I will forgive all your debts, but Luo refuses to give his horse Red and says, you go away from here. Hearing this, Demi becomes enraged and says to Luo, I will definitely take your horse. This leads to a fight between the two. Luo first teaches Demi and his men a lesson and then he goes out and saves his horse. He sits on his horse and drives him away and reached a circus where he performs some stunts and hides his horse from Demi and his men. He was also hiding there because of it. Demi and her men could not see him and go ahead from there. The next morning, when Luo was on his farm with his horse Red, two men come there who were telling Luo that you have to return the horse you had because the horse owner was fighting a case, but now he has won that case, so he wants his horse back. He wants to give it an auction. Then a girl and a man come there who were doing strange tricks. They actually used to stay with Luo. The two men who had brought the notice get scared seeing them and left. After their departure, Luo shows the notice to the girl that the two men had given him that he will have to return the horse in any case. After knowing everything, the girl points to the picture of Luo's daughter and says, we need a lawyer for this case. Now in the next scene, we see Luo's daughter who is beautiful and innocent. Luo comes to his daughter and asks for help by telling her the whole problem, but Luo's daughter refuses to help her dad and says, Dad, I am not a lawyer yet, I am still studying law. Saying this, she leaves. Luo had also left from there. His daughter now goes to a boy who was a good friend of hers and also liked her a lot. He is also a lawyer. Luo was sat at home and thinking about what to do so that his horse would not go far from him. Then a man comes to him who was a film producer. He says, I have heard a lot about you and your horse. I give you an offer to work with your horse in my films and stunts. Luo was happy to hear this and also showed stunts to the producer with his horse. Luo's daughter was eating with her friend. Luo's daughter's friend says, I like you and want to get married. Tell me, when should I introduce my family to you? Luo's daughter says, you know that I have no one in this world, so I will decide when I want to get married and when not. Means that Luo's daughter did not like her dad at all. That's why she didn't even tell anyone about him. Luo's wife had died a few years ago. She just came to her daughter's thoughts. One day, she tells her daughter, don't turn your face from your dad. If your dad comes this time, then please talk to him nicely. Luo's daughter understood her mother's words when she was having breakfast in a hotel. She saw her dad coming from a distance. He was in weird clothes and had also decorated his horse. Luo actually wanted to show people tricks with his horse. People should make pictures with them and give some money in return. Luo also shows stunts here, but it doesn't help. Neither does anyone come to him nor does give him money. Luo's daughter was also sitting and watching all this. She doesn't like her dad at all. That's why she goes to meet Luo and says, I have a friend who can fight your case. Luo's daughter was talking about the boy who liked her. She came to her dad's farm and was looking at everything closely. She becomes happy to meet Red. Now Red was also listening to everything Luo's daughter said. After a while, Luo's daughter's friend also comes, but he gets scared to see the strange things around him. Luo's daughter comes and says while putting her hand on his hand, look, don't be afraid. And says, haven't you decided yet what to do? Then the conversation starts between them and now the story 3 years ago is shown. Lu got the horse injured, he fed it and cured it. He also told it not to ever sit on its knees. Now the story comes back to the present. Luo introduces his daughter's friend to his horse, Red, but he was scared to see it. Luo says, don't be afraid, this is a good horse and it is just having fun with you. Meanwhile, Red fell down while showing stunts. The next day, Luo took Red with him and reached the shooting where his daughter also came to see his stunts, but Red is scared to see so much crowd and can't perform stunts properly. Because of this, they were removed from the shooting. Seeing this, Luo sits in one place. He was sad. Then Red comes to him and asks him to take a hat on his head, but Luo was so angry that he throws the hat. Then Lu's daughter comes to Red and says, look, we are not forcing you. If you want to do these stunts, then do it, otherwise, it is your wish. Hearing this, the horse goes to do stunts in the film shooting. Luo's daughter also comes to her dad and says, come on dad, your horse is ready. After it, both show good stunts. Everywhere, Red and Lu were being praised. Luo was happy to see all this and now both of them continue their work in the film. One day, the same two men come to Luo again whom we saw at the beginning of the story. He again brought a notice to Luo to take the horse. Lu's daughter says, look, this horse and its rider is not owned by anyone, so you can go from here, and the notice that the man had brought. Red hides it and pushes these two men. At night, Luo was sitting with his daughter and eating food in the hotel. That's when Demi comes to them again. He came to ask for money from Luo and was also talking rudely. Seeing this, Red gets angry, it pushes Dami and throws him away. Like this, they have a fight here again. In this fight, Luo's horse was also hitting everyone. Lu quickly takes his daughter and leaves while making her sit on his horse. It is shown that like this, Lu and the horse meet in the film and do stunts and earn a lot of money. That's when Dad gets hurt during stunts. Seeing this, Luo's daughter was now angry. She comes to her dad and says, "When will you stop doing these stunts, Dad? Why can't you do any other work?" Hearing all this, Luo does not give any answer. Anyway, in the early morning, Luo goes to meet his friend's family with his daughter, who wanted to marry Luo's daughter, who was also a lawyer and was also helping Luo in Red's case. Luo was not feeling good sitting in the hotel among those people, and he is also doing strange things. On this, Lu's daughter says, "Don't worry, my dad can't get along with big people. He is simple." Hearing this, Luo also says, "Yes, I am like this, but my daughter is good, don't reject her because of me." Now after they leave, Luo's daughter scolds her dad a lot and was angry at not behaving well. At night, Luo's daughter is watching TV with Red and becomes happy to see her dad Luo's stunts. Luo also came there and he was having fun watching his video with his daughter. That's when he remembers his old moments here. His daughter says, "You are cool, Dad." Both had tears in their eyes. Luo remembers that once during these stunts, he had a deep head injury. Because of this injury, Luo had to stay in a coma for 8 months. Actually, Luo was telling everything to his daughter. He says, "During these 8 months when I did not do any work, because of this, my condition became like this. Because of my illness, I could not even meet your mother." His daughter listens to everything and says, "Don't worry about Mom, she forgave you. She often comes into my thoughts." On the other hand, we see that Demi had come to Red on the farm and was trying to make it conscious by injecting it so that he can take it with him, but then Red's eyes open. All of them try to catch him and Red was trying to escape from all of them. Before Demi could catch him, Luo comes there and beats them a lot. Then he takes him down from a chair. In this way, Luo had driven Dami and his companions away from there. Now the next morning, a film star actor comes to Luo. They both have tea and talk a lot. The actor says, "I want to make a film with you and your horse about whom I have heard a lot," but Luo refuses him. Anyway, he left from there. On the same night, when his daughter comes with her lawyer friend, she says, "Dad, we have found evidence for Red. It can now live with you." Hearing this, Luo becomes happy. Now he tells his daughter that a famous actor had come to me. He wants to offer me a film, but hearing this, his daughter gets upset. She says, "Dad, are you going to start all this again? I had forbidden you." She got upset and went away from him. The next morning, Luo also reaches the place of the film's shooting. He did not listen to his daughter. When he was changing his clothes and shooting, he remembers his horse. When he found him injured, he fell down while thinking about it. A lot of things were going on in his mind. He apologized to that film actor and left the job. Now he goes and tells his daughter that I left that job. Hearing this, she was happy. I had refused this job for the first time. Hearing this, Luo's daughter runs to her dad and hugs Red. Now we are shown a court scene where Luo was fighting a case for Red, but he loses this case. Red's lawyer goes to the other party and says, "Please return that horse to Luo. For you, the horse is an animal used in a game, but for Lu, it is his family still. They do not listen to him and go away from here." Luo is shown sad for Red and says to Red that now our paths are going to be different. Hearing this, Red brings boxing gloves to him that he should practice with it for the last time. On this, he hugs Red and cries a lot. Now the next day, he had given Red to his new owner. Luo goes back with his daughter and her friend, but Red was behind his car, but again and again, it slips and falls down because of the mud. He was not able to run properly. Seeing this, Luo comes out of the car and says to Red, "Go to your new owner, now don't come back." Hearing this, poor Red returned in a sad state. Luo also sits in the car and cries a lot. Seeing all this, the next day Luo's daughter goes to Red's new owner and tells him about her dad. She says, "Don't take away her best friend from my dad, he loves Red a lot." The next day, Red is shown who was with Luo on the farm. It moved to him and was waking him up like always while holding his hair from its mouth. When Luo opens his eyes and sees Red in front of him, he goes crazy with happiness and hugs it. Luo's daughter, her friend and Red's new owner were watching all this, and the new owner says, "I was going to bring Red here tomorrow even if you didn't come to me yesterday, because Red's condition was the same as Luo's. It left eating without Luo." Now Luo and Red are shown at the end of the story. Luo's daughter and her friend run to them and they hug Red. That's the end of the story.